They were pushed into latrine facilities and raped in there.
I was harassed, I was assaulted, and I was raped.
And that's when one of them started to do stuff.
I was raped and assaulted repeatedly my freshman year by a superior cadet in my squadron.
There's nothing stronger than the U.S. Army, because there is nothing stronger than a U.S. Army soldier.
The Army continues to try to attract new female recruits, but by joining the U.S. military, are women putting themselves at risk of sexual harassment, assault, or even rape by their male colleagues?
As a woman in that situation, he took my trust, he took my respect, and he made me ashamed to be a soldier with him. He made me feel like I was an object. He made it uncomfortable to even go to work.
I guess the difference between a joke and harassment is, would you say it to your mother or your sister? If you wouldn't say it to either of those people and they wouldn't laugh, if they would laugh about it, then it's probably a joke. If you wouldn't say it to them because you think it's too disgusting and gross, then it's probably harassment. It's probably inappropriate.
Abby is currently on medical leave from the Army and studying in London. She joined in 2000 for a variety of reasons, aged just 17.
I enlisted kind of with this idealistic notion to give back something. It was also a way for me to pay for college. It was also kind of a way as being like the middle child for me to rebel. I really liked, being able to do the stuff that the guys could do, as well as the guys could do, sometimes if not better. And I really thought that I was one of those quote-unquote lifers, the people that would start off at a young age and stay in it until retirement.
Jessica received her military discharge last year. She was an enthusiastic recruit from a military family.
It was important for me to be a soldier was because I was very patriotic. I wanted to serve and repay my country for allowing as many freedoms as I enjoy. My brother and my father both served. Well, not to sound cocky, but I know I was a good soldier. I know it. Because I had great PT scores. I had the leadership qualities that they were looking for. I had, basically I was the ideal soldier, except I wasn't the right sex.
Abby's service began on a humanitarian mission in Nicaragua. 2 weeks after arriving, she alleges she was sexually assaulted.
These two officers said that they would walk me back to where I was sleeping, and I mean, it's just stupid. I feel stupid about the whole thing, even now, looking back on it. Like, I knew something just didn't feel right, and I'd been drinking and all that kind of stuff, but they started walking me down towards my section of the camp, and we ended up on the water bags that held the water supply for the camp, and that's when one of them started to do stuff. I mean, I think that's an important part, is the fact that they're both freaking officers. I mean, that is like a huge part to the stories, because that's why I didn't do anything.
Having completed basic training, Jessica left for a posting in Korea in April 2006. 3 weeks into her deployment, she was sexually assaulted by an officer.
I was invited to drop a movie off with a fellow soldier, and I had no intentions of walking in the room nor staying, and I dropped the movie off with intentions to walk right out of the room. I was invited to stay, so being polite, I did. and in the process I was attacked. And I learned via the fight or flight reflex, I could not figure out exactly and as quick as I wanted to how to get out of there, but I did manage to get out of there and go back to my room, where he proceeded to, pound on my door for 45 minutes. He made a statement and I made a statement.
The Army investigated and found the offence had occurred as alleged. He was demoted, but remains a serving soldier. How typical are Abby and Jessica's experiences? Janis Karpinski, one of the most senior female soldiers in the history of the US military, became a public figure following her role in the Abu Ghraib scandal. Now released from the Army, she claims that harassment is far more widespread than any serving soldier will admit.
I would say that sexual harassment is endemic in the military today. Peacetime units, wartime, traveling in between, temporary duty, whatever it might be. It's just an unfortunate fact of life for women who are serving in the armed forces now.
The sexual assault meetings happen all the time, but they're not taken seriously. And, people go out from those meetings and maybe they'll remember it for a day or 2 days or 3 days. But next month at drill, it's the same old stuff. And it's the same old good old boys sitting in that office day in and day out, and they're not doing anything to uproot the people that are in charge.
You can't be female in a boys' club. It's just impossible, And every rule that we used as females to try to get by that is very, very easily used against us. For example, if you be one of the guys, you are you act like one of the guys, then you can't complain about one of the guys if he goes too far.
Despite feeling isolated and even physically threatened, Jessica attempted to continue her military career following the assault. She alleges that 5 weeks later, the one male soldier on the base she trusted raped her.
I did feel he was a friend. I was safe. We had discussions. He knew I was, off limits, as it were. We were watching a movie. He was drinking. I couldn't tell you how much he was drinking or whatever. Or I don't even think I could tell you what he was drinking. But in the flash, he was, basically he was on top of me, and that was it. And then I couldn't tell you any more details from there until I left, going, what happened? So I get back, I want a shower, and I just, basically stayed wide-eyed for a good couple days, just kind of going, what happened? Replaying as much as I could, over and over and over. Who do I report? What do I say? Who did what? Did I say yes? No. I'm not drunk. I'm not this. I'm not, what? Again, I'm playing every scenario backwards and forwards, everything said, everything not said, everything thought, just over and over in my head, not understanding what happened, why it happened, what could have been different, and what do I do now?
She eventually came to a decision, and the alleged rape was reported. Al Jazeera can reveal that despite Jessica's commander specifically stating an investigation was ongoing, no investigation has ever taken place. Women currently make up 15% of US soldiers on active duty. In Iraq, more women are serving in combat support roles than any previous conflict. For some, this has meant facing dangers on both sides of the wire.
For units serving in Iraq, women were subjected to a rule where they never walked anywhere unaccompanied. They had to walk with another soldier, whether it was to the latrine, to the shower points, to the mess hall, to their vehicle. They never walked alone. So somebody, whoever established that rule, clearly recognized that there was a threat of some kind.
Throughout my deployment, I traveled all over Iraq. And so some bases actually posed more of a threat of sexual assault than others. There was one base in particular that we were put out in briefings that we were not to be alone. You know, whether it be to go to the porta-johns or whatever, you know, grab a buddy and stay with your buddy at all times.
They were pushed into latrine facilities and raped in there. They were pushed outside of the shower point. And this is in the middle, and commanders use this as a ridiculous excuse. This is in the middle of a combat zone. We have bigger things that we need to be concerned with. You know, the policies affecting women, they're going to have to find their own way.
People were reportedly getting raped in Kuwait at a rather high rate, and because of the generators that were always on, and they were so loud, it would drown out people yelling. So you couldn't hear if someone was being raped, and if they were to scream, you wouldn't be able to hear it.
Janis Karpinski claims she raised the issue of female safety with the commanding officer of one of the Kuwait bases.
I went to the commander and I said, you need to plaster this place with warnings about what action is going to be taken if any of these things are reported and found to be accurate. He said, no, I don't want to call attention to the problem. Soldiers will be soldiers.
They can put that in their hip pocket.
In Part 2, we'll ask the Army what it has done to reduce levels of assault and rape.
We have implemented this very comprehensive policy in regard to sexual assault, and they're going to be required to attend training. They have commanders that are trained on this program.
And we'll hear the testimony that left this congressman in shock.
I was raped and assaulted repeatedly my freshman year by a superior cadet in my squadron. In earlier sexual assault briefings during my basic cadet training, upper-class women cadets informed us that it was very likely that we would be raped.